Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then welcome. If you are returning, then welcome back. So I have a really special video for you guys today, as you can see, so that us people that have starter locks, we can kind of get some advice from them. We can hear from their perspective what their lock journey has been like.
Freaking out, literally, like, I was like, what the f did you do to my hair?
Yeah.
What did you do to my hair? She was like, you asked me to do this. I started in like November-ish. I would say the moment that I really started to enjoy my hair was that next year, the next August.
Okay. So about like when you hit your 1 year mark and they were starting to mature.
Yeah.
Also want to open up dialogue to talk about how your life is now with locks, and if you face any adversities or any challenges or what that might be like for you. And yeah, we'll just kind of dive into it. So let's move into another area, but still involving locks. So let's talk about feeling sexy. Let's talk about attractiveness and beauty and dating. And do you feel like once you got locks, you felt sexier in the dating world? Do you feel like it gave you, do you feel like it altered your dating life in any way, or just, you know, how you felt about yourself, attractiveness, in any way do you feel like it affected that part of your world?
That's a good question. I think before I started locks, I was starting to think about getting locks. I was way more attracted to people who had natural hair in general.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was younger, it was like, you know, my hair was processed. I was attracted to people who had processed hair. I was wearing weaves. I was attracted to people who were wearing weaves. And I started to really, really appreciate natural hair and natural beauty. And then that just kind of like transformed like my whole outlook on like on appearance. And so now I think and since I started my lock journey, I'm much more attracted to natural hair and natural beauty. Not a lot of makeup. Personally, I think, like I said, I went through that phase where it was like that insecurity. So I kind of shied away from myself. But once I started to really reconnect with my hair in a way that was like fully embracing like everything that my hair does, because my hair is kind of cool. I have like a bunch of different textures and it just like does whatever it wants, and it's like curly, so like my locks be like bumping some places, and I started to like appreciate those little quirks. I think my confidence started to build up and I was like, okay, cool. I think I look a little bit more mature with locks, because some people think that I'm like 30, 32, and I'm like, I'm 26. I like my locks. I think that they make me, I think they make me look sexy.
I think that's really interesting that it wasn't just like a personal shift on how you saw yourself, but it was a personal shift on how you saw other people as well.
Yes. Yeah. I really appreciate natural hair and natural beauty. And I think that, I don't know, I just think there is a confidence that comes with fully embracing yourself. And you, as you are, like without anything, you know, added to you, there's a confidence that you have to have, and that confidence is sexy.
Definitely, if you're watching this, I want to know your thoughts in the comments. So if you agree with what she's saying, and if you feel like you've experienced some of those same feelings, please let me know in the comments, because I do want this to be a place where we can have dialogue and I can kind of interact with you guys post this video. Let's talk about back to confidence. So you're saying it takes a lot of confidence for you to feel beautiful in your natural self.
Right.
That's not necessarily a fault of our own. I would say that's more so a societal fault. You know, it's not something you really have to work through. And I think it comes with maturity and time and things like that. But there are also a lot of systems that make it hard for you to find that confidence in yourself. Right. And going back to locks, you know, we've seen a lot of stories of kids not being able to graduate unless they cut their locks, or, you know, people not being able to do A, B, or C because society doesn't like the way that our natural hair looks. Or, you know, when you really think about it, black hair is meant to lock.
Right.
You do nothing to black hair, it's going to combine, it's going to lock, it's going to grow that way. That's just it's natural. So you and I both somewhat work in a predominantly white workplace, or, you know, at least the leadership is white in the places that we work. So I would like to know, just throughout your professional journey, working in white America, being in white America, and, you know, having a very overt way of representing who you are and what your culture is through your hair and through your appearance, what that's been like for you.
That's a good question. I think I there wasn't any like direct like conversations that I would have with anyone who would criticize my hair. Nobody ever really, said they didn't like it. People try to touch it, but people try to touch my hair all the time. People try to touch black hair all the time. So, like that's to be expected, right? Not to be accepted, but to be expected. So I never really had anybody like say anything about my hair. I did when I worked at a private arts college, and it was super, 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 super progressive. And so I really got like good comments about my hair, especially from students. Students really appreciated my hair. They liked that style, the way that I styled my hair. But I always felt like in certain spaces, especially with leadership, or if I was working with a vendor or a contractor and I was trying to secure a contract, or I was working with, campus partners that I needed to like get some initiative done, I felt the urge to make sure the front of my hair was retwisted and neat. So that was something that I had internalized for a while. And then I realized, like, I'm out here with half my head shaved, with locks, black as hell, also queer as hell, and masculine presenting. Either you with it or you not. You know what I mean? And at a certain point, it was just kind of like, I have to just be me. And if you hired me because of all of the things that I can bring to the team, then perfect. Let me bring what I bring. And if not, then we can have that conversation about what your false expectation is. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, I started to realize, like, yo, you kind of doing a lot, sis. Yeah. So, but there was never anything like directly, thankfully, I've never had any negative interactions in regards to my hair. But I internalized how I should represent myself in a certain space. And then I had to kind of break that down.
I actually did have people, in my face telling me how I should wear my hair. So I think for me, so I've worked in super, super white corporate America, like my positions have been like right there in the office with a bunch of non-Black faces. And I know that at one point I was in like a temp agency where they place you in employment roles. Mm-hmm. And before I was getting ready to prep for my interviews, and, he was lining up different positions for me to go interview for, he said, we want to make sure that you look, look your best. That's what he said at first, look your best, make sure you're all put together. I'm kind of like, okay, of course, like I'm never going to go into an interview not ready. Mm-hmm. And he was like, make sure that you don't have those braids in your hair. Like make sure that, your hair is neat and it's together.
You directly said don't have braids in your hair?
I directly said make sure you don't have those braids in your hair. Mm-hmm. And I remember at that moment, so that was probably, I was fresh out of college, just entering like the working world. So, and I remember just being like, okay, what does this mean for the workplace? Like, and at the time I kind of gave him a okay. And I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have like challenged him, and I wish I would have like, really gone off on him for saying that. But I was just in the world of trying to build up my career, and I felt like this white man must know what he's talking about. So let me take his advice. Let me make sure I don't have my hair in braids. And I kind of kept that mentality for a while with different positions I went to. I wasn't necessarily wearing wigs or weaves, but I wasn't wearing braids. Mm-hmm. I wasn't wearing twists. I was making sure that if my hair wasn't the natural form, it was like in a slicked back bun, as neat as possible, as laid as possible, edges as laid as possible, so that I don't offend the white people because this white man told me not to wear my hair that way. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it was until I started working with kids. So then I started working in the school system. And I remember one day, I will never forget it, I came with was a wig? It was a weave, but it was like a lace front. Mm-hmm. Like it had the whole frontals, like none of it was my hair. Mm-hmm. It was the first time I had ever worn my hair like that a day in my life. I just wanted to try it out. And I went to one of my schools, and I had about 6 different schools I was working at. And I went to one of my schools, and one of my students came up to me. She was a small little Black girl. She was about 4 or 5 years old. I think she was in kindergarten. She said, "Miss, I love your hair. I love your hair. I love your hair. I want my hair to be like that." And mind you, I had been working at this school for months, and she had never said that she loved my hair until I had this wig on my head, until I had this lace front on my head, and she started actually crying. She was like, I wish my hair did that, and my hair's so ugly. her hair was natural. Her hair was in cute little two poof balls. You know, and she was just so glamorized by this fake hair that I had on my head. And she was just so hurt that her hair didn't look like that. And I remember I went home and I immediately took that wig off. Like I had just spent probably like $500 or $600 getting that thing put in, but I took it all out. I took the lace front out, you know, I took it all out, and I came with my hair the same way her hair was the next day. And I think at that moment is when I realized how impactful I can really be with loving my natural state of hair and making sure that I remember I'm a representation to some of these young little Black girls that are growing up in a world that's telling them that their hair isn't pretty. And if I'm coming to work with a lace front on, I'm just kind of adding to that stigma. So I think at that moment is when I really started to have a shift. And it really became like, I don't really care what you have to say because I know how valuable I am in the workplace and I know what I'm gonna do for your company.
Right.
If you want me and if you want the skills that I have, then you're going to get over the fact that my hair is, you know, whatever way it is. So I like the fact that you didn't have to face that head on, but, you know, I do appreciate you sharing the fact that there was an internal conversation that you had to have with yourself. And if you're watching this and if you feel like you went through that same struggle, definitely let me know in the comments.
Yeah, it's really amazing how, like, you can have all these degrees and all these accolades and all this experience or whatever, right? And you step into a space and you're questioned based on what you look like. You're questioned based on how you present, you know. And I think, like I said, I haven't had any like direct verbal, like you should wear your hair this way or you shouldn't, you know, present this way. But I have been questioned as to if I actually held the position that I held. You know, I walked in, I'm like, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm the director of such and such. It's like, oh.
You? Really? How'd you get it? Where were you before this?
Where were you before? I mean, the question just, oh, how long have you been here? Well, where are you before this? Well, what kind of work did you do in there? Oh, well, who did you know? Like, oh, do you know someone that works here? No, I just work here.
Yeah.
I just got hired to do this job. I think the more that you present yourself as you are and stay true to that and hold your head up high and be confident in that, there's no choice but for people to respect that. You know, you leave a lot less room for people to have anything to say.
You were mentioning it's something internally, you know, it's something that you have to love yourself. And I think that depending on the person that you ask, that's going to be easier for them to love themselves than it would be, you know, person B. And I think that does kind of come down to maybe the family and, you know, and what you were taught in the home and what you were, you know, what beauty was in your home.
Right.
I know that within my home, no one has locks. I know that growing up, my hair was consistently permed until I was probably a sophomore in college, I think, is when I officially stopped perming my hair. But my hair was consistently permed. It was consistently pressed every 2 weeks. I had a hair appointment on the calendar, always scheduled. You know, everything had to always be a certain way. We were never walking out with just a wash and go was not a thing in my house. You better wash and go blow dry that hair. So that was never a thing. So coming to find beauty in my naturalness was, I'm not going to say my family was just, you know, tearing me down, but it was something I personally had to kind of develop. And I had to kind of put my own work into finding beauty in my natural state. And when I did lock my hair, I had some family members that were like, oh, it's beautiful. I love it. It looks great. I want to do it to mine. I'm going to be next. But then I also had family that's like, girl, what's going on with your hair? Like, you know, how long are you going to keep your hair like that? I know my mom has been on my head, bro, about a retwist. Every time I see her, she's like, so you still doing that grow out thing, huh? So you still haven't retwisted it, or, you know, I think it's time that you retwist it. She doesn't understand there's a reason why I haven't retwisted my hair, but that's kind of been my experience. How was it for you with your family, with you locking your hair? Was it majority supportive? Did you have some people that were wondering what the heck you were doing? Or
yeah, my mom didn't like it at first. She wasn't like, my mom does this thing. She's like, oh, okay. That means she does not like it. She's not excited about it. If she goes, oh wow, that's really nice. So, and then she starts to ask questions, then she like it. So I sent her the picture. She was like, oh, okay. I was like, damn, I don't like this. And I knew my dad wasn't gonna like. He likes long hair. He thinks it's beautiful. He thinks women with long, not necessarily straight hair, but just long hair is beautiful. And so first when I decided to cut my undercut, he was like, what are you doing? Why are you cutting your hair? And then I decided to lock it, and I had to cut it some more. He was like, let's talk about this. Like, what is going on? So he really didn't, my family really didn't like it at first. My siblings were cool. But my parents were just kind of like, all right. And now, almost 3 years in, they're like, oh, okay, I like your hair. It's starting to, because it's growing, it's long, it's healthy, and they see that it looks like something, right? You know, so at the beginning, they really weren't supportive. I didn't live in LA. Others lived in Baltimore, so I wasn't around them enough for them to make comments. But I'm for sure that if I lived nearby, they would be like, oh, so what's going on with your head? You know what I mean? I did have some family members that were supportive. My grandmother, my mother's mother, actually had locks for a while. They were really beautiful. And I remember when my grandmother had them, I was like, man, I want to lock my hair. When I was really little, and my mom was like, she was like, nope.
Well, I appreciate you doing this little lock talk with me. I don't know what to call it, but something like that. And this was a lot of fun. And I hope if you're watching this, like this was enjoyable for you. And if you want more of these, please just let me know, because I do have a few other people lined up that I want to do this session with. But if people want to stay connected with you, and if people want to know more about you and be up in your world, how can they do that?
If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Queen Dejean. So it's Queen Dejean. I also have SoundCloud at Queen Dejean for my music. So that's where we can keep in touch.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm going to talk to you soon.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.